everybody. How are you?
Whoa! Very good.
Louder, folks. I want to say thank you all for coming. Obviously, those of you who are watching online, we're outside now more than 6 feet for everybody, so there'll be no mask for me today. And for our speakers, I appreciate that. So why in the world would I be here? Well, first, I want to thank Quack's Village Inn here for giving us the space and, of course, giving us the refreshments. It's great. I appreciate that. The support is amazing. I see so many people out here trying to support us to move forward. Why would I be out here doing this? Why am I running around doing this when I should be probably, I don't know, Saturday sitting at home with my family or something? Maybe, I don't know. I am here with my family. I'm here with my Liberty family. I am, without question. And thank you guys for all coming today. I appreciate that. I said it before and I'll keep saying it. This matters. This matters. It is so important that we understand that this year we have to build our movement so that we are ready for next year and the year after that. We see that right now the country's in trouble. COVID response has been a disaster for a lot of us. We see what's happening in politics today. A lot of people fighting each other, angry, upset, breaking up families over this. Families are being broken up over this. That's how bad this is. How are we going to fix this? How are we going to make this work? The answer is this movement, this party, us. We are the ones who can make it work. We are the ones who will stop saying, I can't wait till our daddy government figures out what to do. Let's just sit home and wait till daddy government figures it out. And when they figure it out, then we'll come out of our caves. I don't want to do that. I know that the actual answers are going to happen locally. The actual answers are going to happen because each county, each town, each city is different with different answers and different issues, different concerns. We are the part that makes it happen and encourages that and has actual answers. And there are tons of libertarians right now running, trying to make that happen. I'm going to bring up one right now who's running here locally. You can come out right now and say a few words. Russ Penner, thank you.
All right, I've got some thanks I want to do and some sort of vision for the future I want to talk about quickly, and then a little bit about education, because that's kind of my thing. I am I think most of you know, I am an educator. I work at a community college, teach math at a community college. So I see problems with education. I'll speak about that a little bit, but yeah, I'll echo the thanks to the venue here, Quack. It's a great place. We should support businesses who support this kind of thing, getting people together and getting the dialogue going. It needs to be happening in our community. A lot of people pay attention to the presidential race because it's all over TV, but they don't pay enough attention, I think, to what's going on locally and the rest of that ballot that you're going to have to fill out when you go and vote. You're going to have a lot of choices on there, and I'm not as many choices as you ought to have. But if you're in Madison County, you have a few more choices than some places do. So I'm glad of that. I'm running for the 53rd State Senate District, which is Madison County and parts of Oneida and Onondaga County. I want to put a little vision out there because it'll echo some of what he's saying, because this is the start of something. As we got this going, we were just forming county organizations in a lot of the counties. We didn't have a lot of infrastructure. I didn't have experienced candidates to help me with the particulars of setting this whole thing up. And we're going to have that in the future. This seat and the assembly seat and others come up again, you know, in 2 years. It's a short amount of time. And next time around, one of the rising stars in our party will be running for these seats. And we're going to have voice of experience that's been through this. And the votes that we get by the efforts that we put in over this next couple of months, the percentages that we get in these races is going to be kind of a starting point. People that vote Libertarian this time around, they're going to look at that next time around. They're going to be aware that we're on there and that we're trying to make a difference. So that'll be a good starting point for people down the road. So I think that's part of the exciting part of what we're doing. Few words about education, because I think that's really where the freedom movement can make big strides this year because of what's happened in our country. We have more distrust in the education system than we've ever had for a lot of reasons. A lot of people are mad at the schools because of the masks, or a lot of people are mad at the schools because they're meeting in person, or mad at the schools because they're not meeting in person, or wherever you stand on the issue. There's been a lot of distrust toward the system, but it's more than ever, and people are starting to finally do something about it. I just did see an article talking about the big increase in schooling. Now, people are really looking for alternatives outside of that, outside of having the government just raise all of the kids. Right? That has gotten us here. And for a couple of generations now, the public schools have been trying to get across civility, that we need to be civil in our dealings with each other, that you shouldn't be a racist, that you shouldn't resort to violence to get your ideas across, that you should be kind to other people. They're trying to move this socially and get those concepts across to the students. The students obviously aren't getting it. That's been more than obvious than ever this year that it hasn't worked. And it's not because they're not genuine in what they're trying to do, most of the educators. It's just that it's a system. That's the problem. It's an institutional system that they funnel all the people through, that's run by politicians and bureaucrats instead of run by parents and families and local communities and teachers and people that really know what's going on locally. So I think we got a chance to change that. People are having to find alternatives now and look into alternatives. And that's one of the things that you can do for freedom. I'm running the Penner for Freedom campaign. But supporting the campaign is great, but another thing you can do for the movement is help support people that are looking for freedom in education, looking for alternatives in education, trying to do something different.
What's your website?
Try to be a resource for people like that are honestly, people are really looking right now for something different. And people should make their own educational choices, do what you decide to do, but don't have people that you don't trust raise your kids. Don't have people that you don't trust educate your kids. Figure something else out than that. So,
what's your website?
Look me up at penner.vote. It's on the shirt. And
Yeah, I like that.
the shirt's a quick way. We've got window stickers here. There's a lot of ways that don't cost any money, or significant money at all, to get the word out. I think we want to demonstrate that there's legitimate candidates out there, and the window stickers are great for that. If people see that name once, they think, I wonder if that's a legitimate candidate, whatever that means. And then if people see it again on somebody else's window, it's like, oh, I've seen that before. There's recognition there. Now you got some legitimacy going. So there's ways to help get the word out when you're in the local area here. And I know, speaking of the local area, we're in an assembly district also. So I'll have Jake come up and tell us about that.
I want to say that was amazing. Thank you so much, Russ. I appreciate that. And I want to echo what Russ was talking about. The idea of making change right now is right now, with everything being shaken up the way it's been shaken up, the changes we're seeing. Now we can actually make a shift. Now we can change. If we're going to fix education, Russ, you're right. Now's the time, right? Now's the time to make that change. If we're going to make shifts, let's make that change. I want to bring up somebody right now who is thinking about making that change to, again, at the local level. Man who I've had on my show before, met many times, does his own stuff also. Jake Cornell, please go on up.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me okay? I'm going to take that as a yes. So, everybody, my name is Jake Cornell. I'm running for the Assembly District, 121st Assembly District here in Central New York. That covers parts of Otsego County, Madison County, and part of Oneida County as well. My decision to run was based largely on the impact government control has had on the vaping industry. I did work in the vaping industry for many years. And whether or not you vape or agree to vape, something that resonated with me during the time when this all began was Larry, when he said it doesn't matter if the government should agree with you or not. It shouldn't get in the way of your business. And I think that was a defining moment for me where I decided I was a libertarian. So I have to thank Larry for that back in 2008. Yeah, give him a round of applause. So our movement matters. Our movement matters. I like to tell people, I told Tim, I told Tom Daniel Queter when I first met him, and I told Russ, every oak begins with an acorn. And right now we are that acorn. And we will grow into a very strong oak but we have to weather this storm. We have to make sure that we are heard. We have to make sure that people know that we're here and that we are a serious party with serious policies and serious solutions to solve the problems that are happening, not just at our local level, but on a national level as well. So if we want to make real change, we really got to be loud and make some noise. Because if we don't, we will fall quietly into the night. We don't want to do that. Something that I've experienced recently, I have started my own business, my first business. I'm opening up a hemp shop. There's a lot of red tape to opening a business in New York State, and specifically a hemp shop. You have to get a business license. You have to get a building permit. You have to get a permit from the fire department. You need a tax license. You also need a vapor license if you're going to sell vapor products. You have to get a codes enforcement officer to review the property, and you have to get permission from the town to put up a sign that you'd like. It's really a hassle. And as a young guy, I'm only 23 years old. I want to express to all the other young people out there, the reason why it is so hard to start a business, the reason why our generation is having such a hard time getting things rolling and getting this plane into the air is because the government simply won't let us. They simply won't let us. And if we want to get going, we need to get the government out of our way. There's a joke that I heard, but it's actually a fairly accurate joke. Libertarians want to get elected so we can leave you alone. We want to get out of your way, because who best to decide how to run your business but yourself? And who best to decide how you should stay in business than your customers? If you're not a good business owner, this is an argument. I hear this all the time. Well, you wouldn't shout fire in a crowded theater. We should control people because what they might be doing is dangerous thinking or dangerous products. This is my argument to you shouldn't shout fire in a crowded theater. If you shout fire in a crowded theater, you are a jerk, and hopefully the theater owner will kick you out. And if he doesn't kick you out, well, that's a bad theater, and everybody in that theater won't return. That theater will then go out of business. Capitalism wins. So instead of the government saying what we should and should not be allowed to do in our establishments, we should let the free market decide what we should and should not be allowed to do. I sell hemp products. If I sold bad hemp products, nobody would shop with me. And if I went out of business, that's my own fault. So I am a firm believer that we need to get the government out of our way, and we need to just let business breathe and let the American people breathe, and let people like me own and operate a successful business without paying for all these licenses and permits and taxes. Another issue I wanted to bring up, and the issue that's very important to me, is education. My mom's an educator, my grandmother's an educator, and my mother-in-law is an educator. Now, they're the older educators now, but back when they first started teaching, there was a teacher shortage. And now, everybody has a teaching degree. And they've even increased the requirement for a teacher. You have to have a master's degree to teach in New York. You have to have a master's degree to teach in New York. It's almost unfair, because now, not only is the state making money through public colleges off of teachers getting their master's degrees, they are also discouraging teachers from educators or even prospective educators from pursuing that career. Now again, we are looking at a teacher shortage in the thousands, in the tens of thousands in New York State. And I can't imagine that after all of this, all of what's going on, that we are going to be successful in filling that gap. Through all this online learning, my mother, who likes to frequently complain about the online learning, I can't imagine the necessity of an online classroom requiring 14 teachers to teach one school. I can't imagine online learning to be any different than a YouTube video, a simple YouTube video. So what do we need to do? Well, we need to get the government out of our schools. Larry was saying 2 years ago that we need to cut the state government out of our schools and let the local school boards and let the teachers run those schools. I firmly believe that. And I firmly believe that is still the answer. Let local towns decide how their local schools should be run. If you're a parent and you have a student in that school district, you should be a voice in how that school is ran. Don't you guys agree? lot of people now are exploring options like private school. Now, I send my daughter to a private school. I actually just made the decision to homeschool her after everything that's going on, because the state did eventually make its way into the private school and start telling them what they're allowed to do for this COVID stuff. And we've kind of felt bad, because although private schools do cost money and they are expensive, they're typically underfunded in comparison to public schools, which is interesting. Go ahead, tour your local private school. I send my daughter to a local Catholic school. Tour your local private school. I guarantee you the facilities are nowhere near as nice as a public school that receives millions a year in funding. Now, I felt bad for this private school because I know they were struggling before, and I'm happy to report that since COVID began and since these guidelines went into place, that private school has a waiting list, a very long waiting list to get into the school, because they are overwhelmed with applications to get in right now, because so many people are getting their kids out of public school and putting them into private school. So that's a libertarian win in my mind, that private schools are succeeding in this area. But even better than that is that a lot of parents have realized, maybe I can homeschool my kid. Maybe I can actually address these problems at home. Maybe this is something that I can get a little bit more hands-on in. And my wife has decided to do that. My wife is already a stay-at-home mom, so why not be a stay-at-home teacher as well? Does anybody have any questions?
Awesome. Thank you. Oh my God, I love what you said. And I got to tell you, we talked about the vaping industry. And I want to give you guys an issue when it comes to the vaping industry. I don't vape. Never have, don't smoke, not my thing. But when the vaping industry came to me and showed me what the government was doing, I jumped on board because it mattered. Because it doesn't matter if I vape. It doesn't matter if I do a certain thing or whatever the case may be. It matters if you want to. Now, of course, the argument was, well, vaping kills people. That was the argument. And there were some kids who supposedly died. I remember that. So I asked my friends who said, you can't, vape because vaping kills kids. I said, great. Can you please show me the store that sold the products that killed those kids? And they went, well, it was no store. Yeah, you're right. It wasn't. No store did that. The products that those kids were injured from were black market products that were sold outside the store. The store owners, to Jake's point, were good business owners, and they were selling good, safe products. So what happened? Certain products they can't sell in the store because the government won't let them, so they can't create safe products. So people go on a black market. They go on a black market and get bad products. So what was the government's idea? How do we solve this problem of kids being hurt by black market products? We'll punish the store owners. We'll punish the people who did the right thing, making it hard to get the products that the people wanted. So we're now going to make a bigger black market. So we're rewarding the black market. So we've decided in our logic to be righteous and to show what government can do is to punish a good business owner and to reward the deadly black market. That's what actually happened. We rewarded bad behavior and punished good behavior and say, I wonder why this doesn't work. That is a common problem. We do it again and again and again. But if we instead follow what Jake said, let the individual business owners do the right thing. And guess what happens 99% of the time? They do the right thing because they care about their business and they care about their livelihood and do the right thing. But Larry, there are bad business owners. Yes, there are. And there will always be some bad people who will do bad things, and those people should be punished. Absolutely, yes, 100%. Yes, punish those bad people who do bad things. Absolutely, yes. But why would you punish the entire industry for a few bad people who weren't even in the industry, who were in the black market already? Why we encourage the black market? Because that's what government does. Now, there's someone else here I want to bring up. I'm going to bring up somebody else here who's going to talk about the black market because he's a black market guy. I'm teasing. I love Tim O'Connor. I'm totally teasing. I want to bring up someone else running here, another local candidate running, to talk a little bit about his candidacy right now, if I could. Tim O'Connor.
Okay, guys, I'm Tim O'Connor. I am running for New York State Senate, District 51, a little to the south of here. The size of the district I'm running to seeking to serve, let's call it, is about the size of the state of Connecticut. It's absolutely huge. It goes from Ulster County up to Herkimer County. It travels through Shenango County, and later today we're heading out to Cortland County for more of a discussion. But I came up here today, guys, to talk about, and thank you for the opportunity, Larry, by the way, but I came here today to talk about how do we grow our circle? How do we make this movement bigger? Number one, Larry breached, right? He went through the wall, and here we are following him. You offered me the opportunity, and I took it. Guys like Jake took it. Guys like Russ took it. Guys like Mark Brayman took it and take it, and we're doing the work. Sometimes libertarians can be the smartest guys in the room, and maybe we in fact are.
Usually.
Maybe we in fact are, and that's okay. But we still have to learn how to share our message. We still have to learn how to communicate to people in Senate District 51 who there's a large percentage of them that have never voted because they're not interested in politics, but they're aware that they're not being served by the current government. They're aware, they're awake, and we've got to help them. So how do we do that? I'm calling it Grow Our Circle. It's why I came up here. I came up here to thank you specifically because we talked together last night and I didn't actually say thank you, but I want to say it again, and I will say it again and again and again. Having events like this and looking at you guys, knowing that we have a possibility to change the way that the government looks at us, the way that the government looks at our communities, and that we can create solutions like Jake's suggesting, like Russ is suggesting. We can craft those solutions with agreements between all of us. We don't need the government interfering in every single aspect of our life. And so I just want to say thank you. Yeah, clap, because I'm done. That was it, right? All right. Got an applause line.
All right, so we had 3 different people speaking up here. Why do I bring them up? Because I want you to realize something. While I hope that all of you will vote gold at the top of the ticket, Joe Jorgensen for president, I hope you will. There are also a bunch of local candidates who are running also. They all need your support. Joe needs your support, and so does Jake, so does Tim, so does Russ. They all need our support. If you can put some money together, awesome, please do that, absolutely. If you can't, no worries. Showing up matters, and all of you showing up, thank you so much for showing up. For those of you watching, thank you so much for watching. This also matters. Spread, share, like, and comment. And like Russ said, Penner.vote, is that right? Did I get it right? See, I remembered it. Penner.vote. Name recognition matters. Spreading the word does matter. But let me move, if I could, to a more important piece, a bigger picture piece. I know that right now we're divided. And there are many people either watching or here now who are thinking, I have to vote red to stop blue, or I've got to vote blue to stop red. I get it. But I want you to think what that says. What that says is we are more united by what we hate or what we're afraid of than what we believe in. So we look at an enemy or a fear. Oh, I'm scared of him. I mean, Jake is scary. I get it. So, you know, maybe we're all scared of him. But in any case, we're all scared of someone. So let's get together because we're scared of him versus let's get together because we all believe in something. It's not healthy for our community. It's not healthy for our nation. It's not healthy for our state. So we shouldn't be doing that. But Larry, we have to. Let me give you the reality check for some of you out there. We live in New York State. We don't get a say in who's the president. We don't. That's how that works. We don't get a say, right? No matter who you are, no matter what you're thinking, New York State's 20 some odd electoral votes, whatever the number is, they're going to Biden. You know that. I know some of you are crying. I know. I get it. I know. But yeah, but you know they're going to Biden. That's what's happening, right? We get that. It's 3-1 in our state, Democrat, Republican. And more people are leaving every single day, every single week they're leaving. And people who be voting for Democrats as general rule are leaving. So it's getting worse, 3-1. It's going to happen. So if you accept that as true, that Biden is going to get our votes, why in the world would you vote for Trump or Biden? It's a serious question. Why would you vote for Trump or Biden if you live in New York State? You're literally throwing your vote away. You are taking your vote and throwing it in the garbage. You can if you want to. It's your vote. Please feel free to do so. I'm asking you not to, but you can. I get it. It is your right, and I get it. You might want to. I'm asking you to consider something else. Vote for the future. Vote for the future. If we build our party and our movement up, the people who you heard today giving you actual answers and solutions, trying to fix things in their own world, you'll hear more of them. Because here's how most people deal with education. And you've seen it. Hey, Democrat or Republican, how are we going to fix education? Well, we got to help the kids, and kids got to get helped, and we're going to help the kids. That's the answer. And then they either, if they're Republican, they say we have to invest. If they're Democrats, they say we have to fund. But that means taxes. Yes, it does, Jake. Yes, it does. It means throw more money at the problem. It means raise your taxes or fees. Both sides say the same thing. Eventually, one day it'll work, right? I tease my mayor in New York City, where I'm from, De Blasio, who is a terrible mayor, but he is a true believer, that's for sure. He always says, you know, just one more gulag, and then we'll have the socialist utopia that we've all been looking for. Just one more gulag, and then it'll be there. Mark, why don't you get up with the program here, brother? One more gulag. I know I'm taking 70% of your income. Just give me 75%, and then we'll have utopia. Now, I'm joking, obviously, but the concept is true. If we keep just saying one more dollar, one more problem, one more law, one more this, eventually we're all in prison. And we don't get that utopia. We're never going to get that utopia. But we can get a real answer. So I'm asking you to consider this year, vote gold. Just vote gold wherever you can vote gold. If we build this movement out now, this year, but Larry, this is the most important election ever. I know we've heard that every single election for the past 500 years. I know, but it doesn't matter, because this election has to be the election for growth for the next year and the year after that. Some of us are going to win. Some of us are going to lose. I get it. Not every libertarian candidate wins. In fact, most don't, right? Some win, some lose. But the most important piece is, are we going to be a viable vehicle after November? We only are that if we grow this party with votes, with bodies, with infrastructure. If we do that, we're viable. Why does that matter? Because you know that right now, after the election, there's going to be tens of millions of Americans who are going to be unhappy. It doesn't matter who wins. Whether Biden wins, Trump wins, whatever happens, tens of millions of Americans are going to be unhappy because their guy didn't win, and the world's going to end. Because either socialism is going to destroy us, or Biden or Trump's going to eat your babies. One of the two is going to happen for sure. We know this because each side is evil, and the other side thinks the other side's evil. So whoever wins, the world's going to end. What are those people going to do? Where are they going to go? I want them to come here. I want them to come to us. I want them to realize the most important thing you will hear me say, and I will burn it into your skulls. If you're a libertarian, you can be as liberal or as conservative as you want to be. Please just don't push your views on others. Done. That's it. That's it. If you say to yourself, Larry, I am super conservative, and I say, great, that's good for you. Do you believe it is the government's job to enforce your will upon others, the government's job to force our country to be more conservative, or the government's job to force our society to be more conservative? If you say yes, you're a Republican. But if you say no, it's not the government's job, it's my job, through my works, through my example, through my community, to get the world to be a more conservative place. That's it. You say, well, Larry, I'm not conservative, I'm super liberal. Okay, great. You think it's the government's job to enforce your will, to make a more liberal society, to enforce you to make a more liberal country. If you say yes, you're a Democrat. If you say no, I want it to be more liberal, but I want to do it through my works, my example, my community, to convince people to be more liberal, be libertarian. That's the answer. We are the only movement, the only party that says that. You can do that here. And last, more than anything else, we are the only movement that actually wants to solve problems. Only one. Each other party simply wants to point the finger and go, the other. I'm not the other. But you got to vote for me. I'm not him. Clearly, I'm good because I'm not him. That's the entire idea behind both parties. I'm not the other. I will protect you from the other. We don't want to do that. It's very important that we do that. We have to do it this year. This year, vote gold. Thank you. Any questions or comments from the audience? I'm happy to take any questions or comments. Is your hand up, Nate, or are you scratching your head? Yes, and for those who couldn't hear it online, what Nate's saying is he thinks he sees the division, and he thinks that our movement is the only chance for peace, for bringing us back together. And I agree. I mean, think about this. If Biden or Trump wins, either of them really a uniter? No, they're not uniters. They're going to push their own agenda. That's what they're going to do. If you like their agenda, good for you. I would like it, though, to where they, instead of pushing an agenda, are talking about an agenda and allowing us to push our own local agendas. Much better plan. I like that plan better. I think you're right. It's the only place where we can actually get people in. We found this in 2018, and many of you saw this. I would go to events, and I would ask the question. I would say, how many people either now or in the last couple of years were registered Democrat? Hands will go up. How many now within a couple of years were registered Republican? Hands will go up. How many people now or the last couple of years are registered to vote, but neither? Hands will go up. I was the only candidate who could do that. Democrats don't want to vote for Republicans. Republicans don't want to vote for Democrats. Both will vote for Libertarians. And the data is in. That happened with Gary Johnson in 2016. That happened with me in 2018. Democrats and Republicans will vote for Libertarians. But if any of you have been lifelong Democrats or lifelong Republicans, you know you have a natural disdain for the other because you've been taught that for 20, 30, 40 years. And you know many of your friends who are still Democrats, Republicans, don't like the other. If you're a Democrat, I don't like those Republicans. If you're a Republican, I don't like those Democrats. Of course not. But you don't think that way about Libertarians. This is also our strength. So thank you for that, Nate. I appreciate that. Can you be a bit more specific on that? Oh, yes. We're having that happen now. We are seeing that social media will sometimes get afraid and shut down libertarian pages. We see it constantly, right? In fact, those you know, my Lieutenant Governor Andrew Hollister has his stuff shut down. So they will do that sometimes, which is one of the reasons why you'll see me often, and I'll say it now, subscribe to all my stuff. So yes, I actually have many pages I have more than one page on YouTube, more than one page on Facebook, more than one page on Twitter, because I learned my lesson, Nate. Thank you for that. Yes. So I now have multiple platforms and multiple pages on each platform in case one does get shut down, because it does happen sometimes. This is the reason why we have to be doing this. We have to do this. But there's something else, and it's unfair, but it's true. The more money you spend on these platforms, the less chance they will shut you down. When I was running, I'd ask newspapers, I'd ask the press, why aren't you covering me? And they were very forward. You know what they said? You're not buying ads. They said right to my face, you're not buying ads. Buy ads and we'll cover you. I wanted to be in polls. Why am I not in the poll? The polling company literally said, buy the poll. You don't buy the poll. I said, How much does the poll cost? $40,000. I'm not joking. $40,000. So yeah, Nate, you're right. There's lots of issues we have to worry about, right? We have to be able to have enough money to buy the polls, enough money to do Facebook ads, enough money to buy ads in newspapers. That's why I'm always bugging you all for money. That's the reason why. I see Mark's point right there. See, you got to give money to the party. Yes. The sad part is, even in today's world, very often there's an aspect of pay to play. There just is. And I wish it wasn't true, but it is true. That's where we are right now. So one of the issues that we deal with, if we spend more money, the odds of us getting shut down go down, because we're now a revenue source for them. If we're just a good information source, who needs that? Who needs good information? I need revenue. So the more we spend, the better chance we'll have. And of course, I also have multiple pages now. So if one does get shut down, I still have other outlets. So yes, that's correct. It does happen. The issue to remember is when we're running campaigns, a little off topic, but because they brought up, I'll keep going. There are 4 areas that we fight on when it comes to a campaign, 4 different areas. One of them is social media. People say social media doesn't work. It does work. It's just not enough. It's only one of 4 different arenas we got to fight on. In 2018, I actually won the social media war, but it wasn't enough. It didn't matter. It wasn't enough to win the actual election. But that's one. Social media bleeds over to the next one, which is traditional media. And Russ, you were talking about being, a viable candidate. The average person still sees traditional media as being viable. They just see it. It's what we are. It's what we believe in our culture. And not getting traditional media hurts you as being viable. And I did not do well in traditional media. I got some, but nowhere near enough. That was one of the things I learned. I should have pushed that earlier, and I wasn't good enough getting that done. But traditional media does count. It does matter. Being in a newspaper or TV, that stuff does matter. Traditional media. The third one is being in debates, right? And or polling. I count them together because often they're wrapped together. If you're better in polling, you get to debate. I know people want us to debate more. I get it. Here's the most important part when it comes to debates. We have to be more popular. Mainstream debates are not about whether you're a viable candidate. Mainstream debates are not about whether you're a good candidate. Mainstream debates are about one thing only: ad revenue. That's it. Ad revenue. If you are popular and people want to see you, they'll put you in debates. That's how we deal with that issue: polling and debates. And the last one's events. Events like this. Yes, thank you. 2016, both Bernie and Trump taught us this important lesson. If you can get people to an event, you can get them to a polling booth. Absolutely true. If they'll show up to see you speak, they'll show up to vote for you. It was one of Trump's biggest strengths and one of Bernie's biggest strengths. Doing events, getting people to show up. If they show up, they'll vote. That's the most important thing. If you'll show up here, you'll show up on election day, right? You take time out of your day, you'll do it. Doing that, we can win. So I hope that was helpful. Was that good, Nate? Awesome, great. Any other question or comment? Guys, thank you so much for coming. Let's mingle. Let's be libertarians. Thank you.